Good morning and welcome on this Monday morning. My name is Helen Jennings and I am a Stampin' Up demonstrator and I am based here in the UK. And welcome. If you are joining me live, do pop on and say hello. If you are coming in and you're watching me on a catch up, do also leave a message, comment, let me know where you're coming from, and do also like, subscribe, share, do all of those things that makes helps me on my little Stamping Up journey. And it's always good to have other people to come and join us. And if wherever you are, you see something that interests you and you don't have a Stamping Up demonstrator, if you do actually live here in the UK or elsewhere in our European markets, do reach out and I would love to be able to help you. That is what I am here for. But let me introduce myself very quickly. So this is where you will find all things Love-a-Duckie, and this is me, www.loveaduckie.co.uk. Head over there to check out all my classes, downloads, inspiration, links to shops, retired goodies, all of those sorts of things you can find over on my website. And wherever you're looking for me on social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, look under Love-a-Duckie and that is where you will find me. At the moment, it's always good to remind you that we are getting towards near enough the end of the first month of celebration. So halfway through celebration, we've got another month to go. So if you shop, if you host any sort of an event that gets a qualifying order, or if you decide to join the family, there are lots of freebies on offer for you. So don't miss out on those. And if you are thinking to yourself, what on earth is she talking about? Then do reach out to me and I'd be happy to talk you through all things celebration, the biggest promotion that Stamping Up do throughout the year. And so, yeah, lots of lovely freebies. And you'll have seen, if you follow my videos, we've been playing with quite a few of those free items that you can get from the celebration brochure over the last few weeks. So yeah, do go and check those out as well. We have some upcoming classes coming up that you might like to know about. Some of them are to come in person if you are local. Others are you can come in person or you can have them through the post or via Zoom. Coming up in the beginning of February. You've still got time to, I can still take a couple of people on this Saturday Stampers. This is a in-person class held close to me here in Wellingborough in Northamptonshire. And it's an all-day 10 till 3 event where we're going to be playing with some of those celebration items, some of the Valentine type themed, love themed items. We're going to be creating some all occasion cards on that day. So you get a kit, you'll have instructions for 10 different cards, but it's a bit of a card buffet you can make and which ones you like, and use your kit how you'd like to use it. I'm just giving you lots of inspiration for ways that you can use your kit. And so that's coming up on the 4th of February, so this coming Saturday. The other two classes listed there are both ones for March. So we've got our Stamper Stack for March, which is the Fancy Flora, which we are actually going to be using today. And we also have a technique class in March that is cards that move. But before we get to March, we have actually got February and some more classes that we've got in February. Obviously, we've got that Saturday Stampers we've just looked at. We got a Make One, Take One project class, where you can either be using the Happy Forest Friends or the Wisteria Wishes, or you can have both kits if you want to, at a bit of a discount if you take both kits for that one. Our Stamper Stack in February is using the Lighting the Way stamp set, and I have got a couple of spaces left in person, and obviously you can have that through the post. And for our technique class, we're going to be looking at background stamps and some of the ways that you can use those. And the other thing that we've got coming up in February is Stamp Camp. So you've still got time just about to squeeze onto the Stamp Camp. Buy the suite of By the Bay from me or one of the other participating demonstrators, and you will end up with 26 ideas of ways that you can use it, plus make and takes for 13 of those projects. So buy the bundle and get oodles of inspiration for free, which does what it says on the tin. So lots coming up, say nearly at the end of January, lots to look forward to in February and heading on into March as well. But as I said, we are going to be playing with that fancy Flora suite today. So let me bring in my downward facing camera and we will have a look at what we have here. So if I flip this over and show you some of the projects that are in the catalogue, you can see obviously these are using mainly the colours that you'll find in the papers and things for these projects, but you can go off piste as much as you like, and it is a big bumper suite. We've got 2 sets of stamps, we've got 2 sets of dies, we've got DSP, we've got some glimmery paper, we've got some embellishments, and we've got some ribbon. So there's just some of the inspiration from the catalogue. We flip this over, you'll see that we've got 1 set of stamps that is a 2-step stamping floral images and a set of dies that go with them. So some of the dies will cut out some of these stamped images, but the other die, and we'll look at that in a bit more detail, is this great big sort of full card frontal size floral detailed die, which is rather beautiful. And the other stamp set and die set in here is an incredibly useful labels die set of dies with lots of different labels in there and something fancy sentiments that gives you lots of different sentiments for different occasions, and we'll look at that in a bit more detail. We've got some fine shimmer paper. You've got 6 sheets of paper in there, 2 of soft succulent, 2 of fresh freesia, 2 of gold. We've got some iridescent pastel gems. We've got a pool party grosgrain ribbon and a 6x6 DSP pack. So lots in this suite. It's a big suite. The entire suite is £132.75. You're nearly on your way. Add a bit more in there. And you would be on your way to 3 free celebration items with this suite. Let's not open that up because I've got some paper back here. Let's have a little look to start with at the floral images. So as I said, they are 2-step stamping. So you've got this solid image here and this image here that's going to add a bit more detail in there. And the same goes for all of these flowers just here. You've got these little bits of flowers just here that are going to add some details to here. You've got a couple of different leaf sets. You've got like this little almost floral splodgy sort of little stamp in there. So beautiful images once they're all stamped up. They're really beautiful. So we're going to be having a bit of a play with that, obviously. And as I say, the dies that go with it. So if we just flip, I've not actually even taken these off the card yet, but you've got these dies here that are going to cut out these floral images and this piece of these leaves just here, and these little leaves just here. So you've got a nice little selection of flowers that you could be building up there. And then you get this die, as you can see, is going to cut out this beautiful detailed, almost going to give you a laser cut type effect. Really rather beautiful. Sort of die that you will need to run backwards and forwards 2 or 3 times. You cannot get the detail out of a die like that without running it backwards and forwards a few times. But I always think, you know, you have to think to yourself, would I be able to cut that with a pair of scissors? And the answer probably is no. So if you have to work a little bit harder, to get that all to cut out. That's all going to depend on your machine, where you've got sort of spots that aren't quite cutting. You might have to shim it. If your machine has been, you know, well used and it's not quite as tight as it used to be, you may have to shim it up. All of these things, yeah, you know your machine best. So the other set that we've got in here is this Something Fancy. You Matter to So Many, with Deepest Sympathy. I love this one. I didn't forget your birthday. I'm just stretching out the celebration. May the good you do come back to you. Nothing fancy, just love. Here's to beautiful and happily ever afters. Thank you. Grateful for the everyday magic of you. And then you've got a happy birthday and you've got a congratulations. And obviously some of these you can double up. You can have some on the outside, some on the inside. But some really nice little sentiments in there. So that's the Something Fancy stamp set. And the Something Fancy die set, as you can see, you've got these labels that do layer up. You've got little bits like these bits that will give you the hole in the top of your label. You've got these little bits here that will either cut you and into the label so that you've got like a holy effect in your label, or you could use these to add little bits of embellishment to something. You've got this nice banner just here with the shaped ends. So a really, really useful little die set with those tags and things on. So 2 stamp sets, 2 die sets. Obviously, you do not have to buy the entire suite. You can pick and mix from it. You've just got that one number for the entire suite if you want everything in it. These are the papers. They are rather gorgeous. A little bit different. Let's just lay them down. This is the one side. You've got these nice. Let me flip these ones over. I think we've gone one way halfway through the pack and then sort of flipped it over. Love this one, sort of very Monet. Lovely big floral image on there. You can see that with some of these papers, you'd just be able to use the paper, add one of those labels and a sentiment, and you'd have a lovely card. And then you've got some that are more, slightly more backgroundy, but some nice sort of different colour combinations. That grey and yellow is rather nice. Make quite a nice masculine type card. As with these browns, some bright yellows, some nice sort of pastel effects. Really lovely papers. Some greens going on there. And then those sort of coastal cabana with petally pink type colours in there. So that's the 6x6 paper pack. You've got these iridescent pastel gems, which are rather lovely. Obviously a bit of bling. And you're going to sort of be able to match those up because of the iridescent nature of them, match them up to quite a few different colours. There's this grosgrain pool party ribbon. Often grosgrain ribbon can be a bit stiff, but this very definitely isn't. It's quite a soft ribbon. It really is rather pretty. And pool party is such a lovely colour. And then we've got this shimmer paper. Let me take some out of the plastic so that you're seeing the shimmer of the paper and not the shimmer of the paper, of the plastic covering. Look at that. It's almost got an iridescent effect on that. That's the soft succulent. There is also some fresh freesia in there and some gold. Really rather beautiful. So you get 6 sheets of that, and it's a good heavyweight card as well. Oh, sorry, beating you up. Let's just pop that back in there because we don't want it to get dog-eared and battered before we get round to using any. We'll see if we have any of that to play with today. Right. Now to start with today, I'm going to create a little card. Just looking for some basic white in here. I'm going to create a little card. I'm going to case a card that I came across, morning, Janet, lovely to have you joining us live this morning. I'm going to case a little card that I happened to come across when I was doing I've had a big sort out of my craft room. Not quite finished completely sorting out, but I've had a move around. I came across some cards as I was sorting out, and this one was rather lovely. I thought it'd be quite nice to use that as inspiration to create another card. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to take this card for our first card to inspire us. We are going to be making a bit of a pop-up card in a minute, but this is going to be quite a sort of nice simple card, and we're going to use this card that I found to inspire us to create a card this morning. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of thick basic white, and I am cutting it at 9.9 centimeters, and I am going to then cut it at 19.8 centimeters and score it at 9.9. Now, if you follow me regularly, you will know that I will often create a little 9 by 9 centimeter square card, which is just slightly shy of 4 inches. And the reason that I cut it at that size is because you can get 3 cards like this out of a piece of A4 card. So I could have carried on and cut another 9.9, and then I'd have had 9.9 left. So I can get 3 cards that size from a piece of A4 cardstock. So that is why we use that size, and we are going to be stamping directly onto our card base. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the dies, and I think I'm going to go, so this one's got a circular die on it. We're not going to go for a circular die. I think I'm going to go for this die just here. I'm going to die cut one of those, and I think we'll go with some soft succulent. If I've got a slab of soft succulent there. If not, let's just find ourselves a piece. I cut myself a little piece of soft succulent card here. I'm going to die cut that die. Die cut that label. Let me just come back in and cut in with this die. So I'm not going to want that entire die to be on the front of my card. I want it to sort of take it off the edge and cut off some excess. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the inside of this die just to give me a bit of a pencil mark. So this is actually going to be smaller than the die image that's going to go on the top. What it's going to do is it's going to give me a bit of a target for some stamping. So let's find our stamps. And let's have a little think about colours. So some of the colours that are listed are Calypso Coral, it's Fresh Freesia, some Daffodil Delight, where are you, Daffodil Delight? No, your mango melody. Ooh, we have a mystery. Daffodil Delight has gone walkabouts. Well, where oh where is our Daffodil Delight? To be honest, we're not going to be using the papers, so it won't matter if we use a different colour. But that is indeed a mystery as to where my Daffodil Delight has gone. Oh, there it is. Just can't see for looking. So some Daffodil Delight, some fresh freesia, some Calypso coral. We'll have some soft succulent. When you look in the catalogue, you've got these colours here that are listed to give you a colour selection, a colour palette. If you actually have a look on the back of the paper, there are some other colours suggested, and one of them is Evening Evergreen. I might use some of that as well. We will see. So let's have a look. Let's open up these stamps. Now they are photopolymer, as they nearly always are, as they always are if we had doing some two-step stamping, because we really need to be able to see through them to see what is going on, where to line them up. I'm going to take this big floral image to start with. And also have the outline section. Let's start with the outline section. It's a bit hit and miss. You have to experiment and play around and decide which way works best. It sometimes works best to have the outline piece first and then decide, use that to line up the inside piece. I'm going to stamp that just there. I have another one coming out just here. And that's that outline for that stamp. I'm going to ink this up. I'm going to stamp it off. And then we will line this up. Stand up. Stamp over the top. Beautiful. And you get this gorgeous detailed flower image. Obviously don't have to use the same colour. I could have done that with a Calypso coral outside and perhaps something like a yellow inside. Let's come in with a different size flower. I think I'm going to go for the next biggest. I think I'm going to come down a bit. And perhaps bring in some fresh freesia. Actually, let me get the detail bit first. That one there, I think. And then here. Let's try again with this bit. Stamp it off. Then line that up. Stamp this one off. and line it up. They're always a little bit forgiving. You don't have to worry about them being absolutely perfect. Thinking I might take this little set of yellow flowers here, these little set of flowers here, and come in with some yellow. I'm going to go with the flowers first for this one. So that's in there. And then there's these little star pieces that will go in the middle. Let's give those a go. Nice. And I think we'll have a few little leaves. I think I'll go evening evergreen with this little pair of leaves. Yeah, I might leave it at that for a minute. And then I think we'll take in this other set of leaves just here. Do I want those as well? Let's just lay our thing over the top. No, I don't think I am going to bring those leaves in. To stick with that, I'm going to take my sentiments. Let's have a look. Let's go for just have a thank you, I think. I'm going to take the evening evergreen. I'm going to bring the thank you so that it is slightly to this end of my label, because we're not going to use all of that label, remember. And the other thing I'm going to do is take this bow punch, which is one that you can find in the annual catalogue, and some vellum, and let's just stamp ourselves some vellum leaves. I think to do another one. These ones in particular I want, although we might put in a little small one as well. Right, I'm just going to take a little glue dot, I think, for these. Find the end of my glue dot and just pick up some of that. Let's have one coming out there. It's a large one. another one coming up there. Let's just take this little one. I'll just have that peeking out down there. So it looks a bit odd at the moment, but then let's bring in our label. Bring that over the top. I think we'll add that with some dimensionals. Just going to use up some of these bits around the edge. I don't want to add any dimensionals to this end of the tag because we are going to chop that off. Somewhere about there. Swing this round and tuck off the end of that tag just there. I think we'll take some linen thread and to cut this little tiny floral image, and I've done this really before. I stamped that on there. We'll just add in a few little soft succulent flowers on that tag. Let's make ourselves a double bow of linen thread. I'm just going to run this through my fingers to straighten it out a little bit. There we go. Let's just trim this down a little bit. Use another glue dot. And perhaps we'll come in with a couple of our little iridescent pastel gems. And we'll pop some on this label, I think. Looks like a big one as well. So, a quick and easy little card using that those two-step stamping stamps, and they really do such a lot of detail. They're really beautiful. And obviously we've stuck to colours that are in the papers. You don't need to. You can use whatever colours you would like to create these images. Now there was our card that we used as our inspiration, and here's the one that we've created this morning. Let's just move that to one side. put the lids on our ink pads. Because we're now going to have a play with a bit of a fancy fold, just flinging stamps around the place. Let's not do that. Let's clean up some of these stamps a little bit. Ready to use again. It's got my Simply Chamois off to one side here. I'm using to give these a bit of a clean. These to one side. Pop our die over there. Okay. So I think we might use a bit of Orchid Oasis cardstock. Our card on this one. Might also take some, excuse just not to tin onto the floor, and take some fresh freesia and some I'm sure that's want some basic white. Or we will want some basic white. A bit just here. Okay. So, where have I put my trimmer? Just there. First thing we're going to do is going to take a piece of basic white. I'm going to take a piece that is 14.9 by 10.5, which is the full size of a full card front. I'm going to use that as a bit of a template. This piece here, I'm going to cut down to 9.5 by 13.9. Put that to one side for now. This piece of fresh freesia, I'm going to take down to 14.4 by 10. So that's a first size mat. Whatever your first size mat is. And then this piece here, I'm going to cut in half, 14.9, so as you normally would with a card base. Cut in half, score in half. So it's exactly what we're going to do to create a normal card base. These will eventually layer up with that. We're going to have a little look in our papers. Let's see if we can find some patterns that would work. They would. That would. Those ones perhaps wouldn't. This one would. And that one certainly got some of those colours in as well. I'm not quite sure that's the one. That one would as well. So we've picked out a few papers that we might possibly use for our card. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a bit of a template. So we are going to take this piece of 14.9 by 10 centimetre piece of cardstock. Let me just move my trimmer out of the way for a minute. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a line along this top edge, and you could just do this on your trimmer. and we are going to measure it at 9 centimeters and make a little pencil mark along the top there. So that's at 9 centimeters. If you were doing this with your standard, to make a standard imperial type card base, this obviously would be 5.5 by 4.25, and you would measure that 3.5 inches. Then cutting down this way, I'm going to measure, just say double check my measurements. Oh, there we go. Yes, it is. So we're going to measure it down at 7 centimeters. So across the top at 9, down this side, we're going to measure it at 7 centimeters. If you're doing this with an imperial cardstock, letter size cardstock, you'll do that at 2 3/4 inches. So I'm going to draw a line between those two. Now you could just do this on your trimmer. That would be perfectly fine, and possibly what I normally would do, but just so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. And then I'm going to line that line up in my trimmer and cut it off. And now I have pieces that I can use as a template, and it is mainly this piece that I'm going to use for my pop-up corner card template. So mark it and keep it somewhere safe. Okay, so let's bring in our cardstock. So here is our Orchid Oasis cardstock. Let us put in our template like this. Make sure that it's lining up across the top and lining up down the side. Just put a faint little pencil mark in just across there. Perhaps won't be able to see that, but I can just about see that there. Let me bring in my trimmer. Now what you could do is you could do that on that side and then flip it and draw a line the same on the other side and then score both of those lines. But I am going to attempt to score these at the same time. So I'm just going to lay that in there so that my line is lined up the grooves of my trimmer. Score that. I can see where the score line is faintly on the other side. I'm going to score it that side as well. And now when I open this up, I've got a score line down there. I've got a score line down there. I'm going to simply fold this on those score lines to make mounting folds. Those sticky up folds on either side. And then as I bring this in together, it's going to create a card base that looks like this. Let's just have a dig about and find my bone folder. I'll give that a bit of a burnish. The same just in there. So we've got a card now that opens up, and when it opens up, you've got this sort of poppy section in here. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to decide on the DSP for the front, and I think I might go with this one, and I want to cut it so it is, I'm going to cut it at 10 by 14.4 as if I was doing a standard. Might turn it around this way and cut the excess off this side. So 10 by 14.4 mat of DSP. Obviously, there's a bit of a problem. We've got a too much paper. So we're going to come back to our template. And again, line that up. We'll line it up, although this piece of card is smaller than the one we started with. Obviously, that was a 14.9 by 10.5. This is 14.4 by 10. We're still going to line it up in the corners just to the same. We're going to chop that off just the same. Hopefully that will now sit rather beautifully on the front there. I think we'll stick anything down yet. We'll wait until we've finished. And we need to come in just a bit of a pencil line showing just there. Let's just get rid of that. If you want to add any pieces in these bits that are sticking down here, you could use some of that paper. You could equally use it if you're going to want it on the inside here. So it will be that way for that way, that way for that way. We'll see if we come around to using that in a minute. So we'll have that piece of paper on the front. On the inside, I'm going to take a fresh freesia mat and a basic white mat for this piece, but exactly the same. I'm going to take my template, line it up. You can draw a line all the way across. The other thing you could do is just do either end, because those are the bits you're going to line up in your trimmer. So as long as you've got those marks, you don't actually need the entire line. But obviously, if you prefer that safety net of having the entire line, then do use it. And do the same with this basic white piece. So exactly the same, despite the fact that it's again slightly smaller, we're still going to line it up in the corner just the same. That will sit on there and we'll sit in there. We'll do some stamping on that in a bit. So we've got our front piece. We'll add something to that in a minute. We've got our inner piece just here. We might quite like to have a piece on the top here. Now this is where you're going to need to think about your paper that you want to use, and also I think I might go for this one just here. So think about the paper you want to use, and perhaps this edge that hasn't got quite so much patterning on. Just going to cut this to 10 by 14.4. Now, I need to think about which corner I'm going to put my template in. So I'm actually going to need to swap this template, turn it round, turn it over, flip it, pop it in this corner here to get the right corner chopped off. You see, if you've got a double-sided paper, that it doesn't matter, that it's not directional, that you're not worried about which way it goes up, and don't worry. But if you want to use a particular side, want the paper to be a particular way, and do make sure that you use it. Now, to have pop-up element in here. I think quite tempted to put that card just there. That's that piece of DSP just there. Now these bits are going to need to be trimmed, simply because obviously they are going to be exactly the same size as that piece just there, and we want them to be a little bit smaller. I'm going to put them both together. I'm going to leave the long face just here, and I'm just going to trim a little snippet of the other two sides. And let's just in there. Let me cut them both at once, so I'm doing them both at the same time. Let me flip it so that I've got the long angle at the top. Again, we'll just cut off a little snippet. Let's see if that is enough of a snippet. I think so. Right, so we've got all our pieces now, all our mats now. The one other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to die cut a circle. And I'm sure it's that circle I decided to die cut. Or did I go for the small one? No, that one, I think. So I'm going to do this again in... I'm actually going to do it in basic white, I think. Decision made. Basic white. You know how you make decisions and then change your mind? I'm going to do it in fresh freezer. If I decide to swap back, I've got one of these. So I've done that with a stitched circle from the Stylish Shapes. On the front, I'll have that one just there. And again, I think we'll go fresh freezer. Big lump. Right, we have a whole load of bits cut out now. I think we're going to bring back in some of our oddments of basic white, because we're going to want to cut out some, stamp and cut out some flowers. I think we will glue some of these pieces in place. So let's start with our piece of paper for the front. Oh, no problem, Lisa. A lion sounds like a good plan. And let's lay that on there. There's our front piece, and then we shall have one of these labels on the front there. This piece is going to come in here. Yeah, let's just make sure we've got rid of any pencil marks on here. And we'll stick our basic white to our fresh freesia. I might hang on sticking that bit in because I might want to do a bit of a stamping on there yet. And we're going to have this piece of fresh freesia here. And this piece of DSP just here, like a jigsaw puzzle. So now that will come in like that, and as that opens up, you've got those different papers showing inside. And have this label on the front here. We're going to have some flowers to go on there. We're going to have this piece here that is going to pop up. We're going to have some flowers on there. So let's have a look at some flowers. Pop that to one side carefully. We don't lose it. And let's bring this in, and let's bring in some Orchid Oasis ink. Let's have a grateful for the everyday magic of you on there. Should I have the right stamp set? I take the inners out so that they don't catch the glare as they're catch the camera. I'll have that on the front there. Let's use some Orchid Oasis for that one. Sorry, you can't see me stamping that. I just lined it up across the bottom. I've stamped that across the front of my label. Let's just pop that to one side. I want to add some die cut flowers to that. So let's have a little look. Let's come in with this bigger image. I'm going to have some Orchid Oasis. So I'm going to stamp, let's go with 3 of these. Just move some of these bits out of the way. Can't see for looking now. let's take the Orchid Oasis. I'm just going to stamp it off. And to take this flower, you can obviously mix and match your flowers up, decide on different ones. Let's have another 3. I think we'll do 3 of this one. Find the solid image. You don't need to stamp these off. You can do it in the solid colour, you'll still get the detail. If you are going to do it in the solid image, you're perhaps better off doing it the other way round and do your solid image first and then go over the top. You could of course use different colours to give the detail. I'm going to take this one just here as well. I've got a splash of the Daffodil Delight in there, so we could use some of the Daffodil Delight. Come in with the solid image. Use that one on the bottom slightly. And some yellow. So I've got some of the Orchid Oasis, some fresh freesia, some yellow. Come in with this large greenery. Let's just cut through a couple of those. Let me just find another alternate of basic white. We'll have three of those as well. Right, let's die cut those out, and then we can have a bit of fun with some flower arranging. And the dies. And we want the dies that cut out the images. So we've got this one just here. for these Flora pieces. Is that the big one? Or is that it? I think it might be that one. Yes, that one. About like that. I'm wondering, yes, just there, like that. Okay, so that's our die pieces. To cut these out. So, my machine behind me. And let's cut those out. I'm just going to trim this off across there like that, then it will fit on my plate at the same time as the other piece. And I'm going to get some low tack tape just to help hold my dies down. Just going to rub it on my fluffy jumper to take off some of the stickiness. Line these dies up. Whenever you get a new set of dies, I think it's a first couple of times it might take a little bit of a wiggle, and then you tend to get your eye in slightly as to what pieces to look out for. Line them up. You can, if it's helpful, mark your stamps with a arrow, but this is the right way up. And then, similarly, mark your die with a stamping blend or some sort of permanent marker. And then always stamp your stamps with the arrow facing upwards, so that you know to line up your dies with the arrow facing upwards. That is helpful to create, to match up these dyed cut images. So pretty. Hopefully, as you've stamped your images, you've mainly stamped them in a similar orientation to what you've lined up. Others aren't quite so hard to follow. Doesn't always follow, obviously, but set of flowers number 2 coming up. Pink on pink. Ooh. 1, 2, and 3. Then let's line up the third flowers. That one I think we'll have to come back and die cut in a minute. Not quite fit those all on the plate, but let's get rid of, just sort of filling my plate with images so that I can just run them through. About there, I think. Then we could bring in some of these. Let's trim that off and trim that round there. And that one will fit on there. We can bring in this one. A bit of our tape. Let's line this up. And we'll run that through. And then we just have one flower and two more leaves to go. Flower. Flowers. One set of leaves. Where's our little one gone? Just here. There. Just found they got that flat side just there. Let's do that, and then one more leaf. Last but not least, finally coming through. It will be. I'm not knocking it off the edge of my plate. Oh, that one didn't quite catch on that corner. So we'll just take our scissors and snip that piece out. It obviously hung off the edge of the plate as it was coming through. Right, let's bring back in these pieces and our I want to arrange that so that there's we can see some of that blue, yellow sitting underneath. Let me find. Let's take this just here. some dimensionals underneath it. I think we'll come in. Let's add a little swoosh of our pool party ribbon underneath here. Take a little bit of tear and tape. And that down here. Take that off. And we'll take it across to the end, I think. About there. Let's bring that back. And back once more. Flip that over. I'll trim that off just here. Take off our dimensionals, backs. That on the top. Let's just add these bits on. A little bit of glue coming down there. A bit of glue on the bottom here. We could be using let's have a little bit of dimensional under the bottom here to hold that up. Glue top here. Here. That little oddment of I think we might have a second piece of foliage coming in across here. We'll perhaps add some gems in on there in a minute. Then we're going to have this pop-up piece just here. Now this is going to lay down this way, so we've got quite a bit of space around our circle, so we need to keep one piece of the circle so that nothing sticks over the front of it, but the other two sides we do have not sides, you don't get sides on a circle, do you? But the other angles we can put in a bit more. You can have some greenery popping out the top there, a bit like that, I think. So let's just lift that slightly and add some glue. Now that we know where they want to go, we could do similar, could add glue dots in behind these just to add them in, but just going to tuck those in there. that one in there. To add some glue to the back here. Ooh, come here. And then this bit. Just here. Let's actually tuck that under these front sections just there. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add some glue to the bottom of this circle. Put it in there. That will fold down. So what you don't want it to do is sticking out here, but it's not sticking out just there, but it is popping up as you open your card up. So all we've got left then is this piece just here. And I think we'll take, let's come in with this bigger flower. And our orchid oasis. Let's stamp that bottom just there. Take the solid image. Stamp that over the top. Perhaps we will take some of this. Here's a soft succulent. Ooh. And I think we'll take another piece. Fits quite nicely alongside that flower just there. Add some glue to the back. Let's add that in here. So we have got fabulous pop-up card with all these, this sort of pop-up bouquet of florals in there. I think we deserve a few little shimmery shinies on the front. Let's just put a few little glimmery pieces on the front. So I think often, Hazel, these two-step stamping, you often do have to have a bit of a play because they don't look much, do they, on the front of the packet. But once you start playing with them and you see the detail just pops off the page, doesn't it, when you stamp them? Just beautiful. So there we have a pop-up corner card, and we've used the stamps, both sets of stamps, both sets of dies. We've got some of that ribbon in there. We've got some of those embellishments. We haven't used any of the glimmer paper. We could have used some of that perhaps inside here. We could have perhaps used that. Wouldn't have been too good for the label because we wanted to stamp on it, and that might have been a bit awkward. But we could have used the layering up labels and done one layer in the glimmer paper and the front layer in the in cardstock to stamp onto. So there's one little card, and then there's the other little card that we created that was just a quick and simple sort of stamp and go, pop a label on the top in just a little 10 by 10. Well, it's not as quite 9 by 9.9 centimetre, just under a 4-inch square little card just there. So one very fancy, one quite quick and simple, but all using this stunning two-tone floral. So yes, so if you have passed it by and thought, oh, I'm not sure, do go back and look again. There is some really beautiful things that you can do with this gorgeous, gorgeous suite of products. As always, if there is anything that I can do to help you, if you have any questions, if you would like to get your hands on any of these things and you need some help to do so, do reach out and let me know. If having been seen that you are inspired by the two-tone Flora stamper stack that's coming up in March, then don't forget you can have that as an in the post option as well as an in-person option. So yeah, do get in touch, and I hope you all have a fabulous week, and I will see you all again on Friday.